Right now, the City of Arches Kickstarter is live. The City of Arches is a high fantasy city sourcebook for lazy GMs, something that I've been working on for the last couple of years, and we're putting it together. It's a fantastic book. Lots of GMs have already been running games in it, and we've gotten lots of feedback about it so far, and it is now available for Kickstarter to pick up the PDF or the hardcover version of the City of Arches. Please take a look at the Kickstarter itself. You can find a link in the show notes below, and in that you can go to the Kickstarter, and on the Kickstarter page is a 42-page sample of the entire book. Tons and tons of material that you can look at to see what kind of book this is, and some stuff that you can actually use at your table today. Today, I am going to show off one of the pieces of the 42-page sample that is available on the Kickstarter called Golgoroth Arises. So one of the things that I was super excited about, I've been running and playtesting versions of the City of Arches, one-shots and campaigns in the City of Arches now for a while. And when I was running one of my playtests, I realized that one of the things I did for that playtest was I created a little strong start for the scenario that was intended to show players what the City of Arches was about and how it was a different kind of world and a different kind of system than we normally have. And that little bit of playtesting kind of start that I did, I liked so much, and I got such a good response from my players on that I was like, I need to make this part of the book. I want this intro scenario to be part of the book. I want it to be a great way for GMs and players to get a feeling for what the City of Arches is like and what's going on here, and get introduced to some characters and get introduced to some sinister stuff going on, and also be a fun thing to run. And it's intended to be run in probably an hour. I think if you've got characters ready to go, you could almost certainly run Golgoroth Arises, which is really just one scene, in about an hour. But in that scene, you have a lot of different things going on. You've got role-playing going on. You've got kind of exploration and understanding going on. You've got 10 situations, and of course, a little touch of combat. And it's a really good scenario to just kind of warm up and get started with the City of Arches. And it also fits. It's just a little bit more than one page for the scenario. So it's pretty easy to grab it. You could print it out and you could run just that scenario. So the idea behind Golgoroth Arises is that the characters are at like a favorite eatery or a coffee shop or a tavern, sort of an outdoor sort of place where they're hanging out. The characters already know each other. The characters are hanging out there. And it starts off when Garland Willowmane, who is the head archkeeper for the City of Arches, comes over to the characters. Maybe she knows them already. Maybe they know her, or maybe she just sees like, oh, they're adventurers who are hanging out and I could use their help. So right when you get going, Garland Willowmane comes up to the characters and says, I need your help, right? I need your help. And what Garland describes, she describes what's going on with the city, with the Archkeepers in the City of Arches, and there's a few points that she mentions to them. One is that the Archkeepers are an order whose members try to help bring people in from the Arches in as non-confrontational a way as possible, to try to make sure that people that come in through one of these portals, the whole idea of City of Arches is all these archways, ancient archways that have been around for more than 1,000 years, and they are unstable. And every so often, an entity walks through one of these archways from the other side with little memory or little to no memory of where they came from originally and no real way back. And so once people arrive in the City of Arches this way, it's best that they are greeted in a way that makes them not nervous and not hostile and makes them safe and explains to them that everything's okay, because they're quite confused and things could be really wrong. So Garland Willowmane runs a group of people, and it's possible that one of the characters is also an Archkeeper. The Archkeeper is one of the backgrounds, also available in the sample chapter and certainly available in the main book. And the intention is that the Archkeepers are there to help bring people in. So Garland Willowmane has some kind of magic. It's a little bit mysterious in this, because I don't know if she wants to tell everybody about it. A little bit of magic to recognize, they can figure out when an archway is going to open sometimes, and usually it's when it's going to open pretty quick. So she came running up there. However, unfortunately, she likes to have some backup golden knights. She likes to have some guards and some knights who are around just in case whatever comes through is truly hostile. And sometimes there are hostile things that come through the archway. But unfortunately, she couldn't get the golden knights to get there in time. So the characters are there on the spot. She says, can you help back me up just in case things go a little wonky with whatever's coming through the archway? We don't know what's coming through, and we'd like to do it. And she has a gift basket. This gift basket is a thing that the Archkeepers keep with them when they're going to greet somebody. The gift basket includes artisanal cheeses, crackers, scented soaps, soft towels, and an invitation to the city's public baths. Hey, take your towel, enjoy some cheese, go to the public baths, swim in the public baths. You'll feel much better. Everybody who goes to the baths and swims there feels better. And it's just a way to kind of greet, hey, you're here, you're safe, everything's fine. I know you're confused, but don't worry. We're here to help you, and you're in a safe place. Enjoy some artisanal cheeses. However, sometimes things go bad. So then, after she convinces the characters, yes, we'll help back you. She says, like, don't just pull your swords and bows out and start going crazy, right? Like, no matter what comes through, just take it easy, right? They might not know. Okay, fine. So the archway activates, and boom, right? Fire and brimstone come roaring out of the archway. It is the cover of the book, right? This is the example of what comes through the archway. The cover of the book is actually the part of the scenario. The arch awakens, right? And boom. And the first thing that happens, sturges come pouring out of the archway. 2 sturges per character come flying out of the archway, zipping around, attacking passersby. They attack Garland Willamane. They attack the characters. Oh my God, we're dealing with sturges. So the intention is that you probably run this battle in theater of the mind rather than doing a big grid. But, characters are fighting the sturges. Then during the fight, somebody might notice that a hooded cultist comes out of it with a knife in hand and attacks Garland Willamane. Now, maybe whatever happens, even if the characters are able to kind of intercept it, still Garland is kind of knocked out. She's sort of brought out of commission. She's unable to fulfill her duty as the archkeeper when the arch opens up. And the cultist is kind of like, shouting and trying to stab Garland Willamane. Hopefully and likely the characters are able to stop the cultist from killing Garland Willamane. And the cultist says, "Behold the coming of Golgoron, sunderer of Ryovax, prince of Arkara, and herald of he who shall rise again." And then fire erupts again, and a horned devil steps through. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Mike, the characters are first level, and you're bringing a horned devil, which is like a CR16 monster in. Is this really what you want to have happen? Yes. That's exactly what I want to have happen. So this huge horned devil with a spiked chain that weighs as much of a school bus comes walking through the thing, and he looks around with his big fiery flaming eyes right out of like the Balor from Lord of the Rings, and he says, "I am Golgoron, sunderer of I forget." And he kind of like looks around and he's confused, right? And he sees like all the sturges are running around, and he's seeing the characters running around. And then your hope and intention is that when the characters realize that Garland Willamane is out of commission, and maybe she's like, "Help, you got to give him the basket," right? That the characters need to go greet Golgoron and grab the basket, and they go up. Now, generally speaking, as long as they make any decent attempt to speak to Golgoron and give Golgoron the gift basket, they don't need to make any check to succeed. There's not like, oh, you got to make it DC 18 charisma. If the characters are not doing a fantastic job, you might have them roll like a DC 10 charisma, persuasion, or performance check. And you have advantage if you're handing them baskets. But generally speaking, if the player is role-playing well, you don't even have to make a check. If you want to make a check, a DC 10 charisma, persuasion, or performance check, and you have advantage if you're holding the gift basket out. Now, if Golgoron is welcomed successfully, right, if the characters don't attack Golgoron will drop their giant spike chain on the ground and pick up the basket, sniffing the soaps, and say, "Okay, I'll go head to the baths." And he heads to the baths with his big bath towel and his basket full of scented soaps and artisanal cheeses, leaving this giant flaming spike chain lying on the ground nearby. And if he doesn't, if things go bad, if things go wrong, and he basically, and especially if a character like attacks him, he'll probably give a smack on one of the characters with his spike chain, which has a very good chance of incapacitating or killing the character with a single shot, especially at first level, and then gets mad and flies away. And if he flies away, likely he ends up in the City of Blades, a whole other location in the area around the City of Arches, one of the outer locations of the City of Arches, and might end up becoming a gladiator in the arena over at the City of Blades because his chance to kind of be introduced to the city went bad. But that would still be like a fun way for the characters to be reintroduced to this character that they met, even if things go bad. Every time I've run it, they go well. So that's generally not how it goes. Now, and thus you've succeeded, right? Golgoron arises, Golgoron shows up, Golgoron gets a nice gift basket, scented cheeses and soaps, and Golgoron goes off. And by the way, you dealt with your sturges, right? The idea is the characters are still dealing with and fighting off sturges, right? In the aftermath, the characters can try to find out more about this cultist and what's been going on with the cultist. Characters with an intelligence check can find a note that the cultist discovered, which said, that they are actually a member of the Children of Abraxas, one of the numerous cults that operate in and around the city of Arches, and that their intention was to try to show Golgoron who he had been and who he could be, and use them as a weapon to kind of bring back and connect to the world of Abraxas that they want to kind of open up. And it can connect to, the node can also include a map that shows their hideout in the Cliffs of the Dead, which ties into another adventure that's not only inside the book itself, but also available in the 42-page source book, which is known as the Obsidian Skull. I'm going to talk in another video about the Obsidian Skull adventure that's here. Another short adventure that kind of introduces characters to what's going on. Nice, straightforward D&D adventure where you crawl through a crypt, fight some cultists, and deal with a situation. So that is Golgoron Arrives, and Golgoron Arises. It is just a short scenario to kind of add some fun and show you that even a horned devil that shows up might actually be kind of a nice guy. What happens to Golgoron? Maybe he decides he wants to be a potter. Maybe he goes and becomes an apprentice over at Savage and Graham's, the local eatery, to cook food. You kind of get to decide what Golgoron does. Golgoron actually shows up in a few other places in the book in different spots where he's kind of investigating his own background and realizing that he is not the only one of his kind who came through, and the other ones are not nearly as nice as he is, and what does he want to do that? So there's lots of different play where Golgoron, the Horned Devil, shows up. What you don't want to have happen is Golgoron becoming like an NPC who hangs out with the characters, because he would be too powerful. So he probably loses his driving. You're like, oh, why aren't you fighting? You're so good at it, right? But he's really not. At this point becomes like a peaceful, unless he goes to the City of Blades, in which case he becomes a gladiator and he can do whatever he wants. But he's probably not going to join the characters. So that is Golgoron Arrives. It was really, really fun to run this and write this and throw it in the adventure. I think it's a great way to kind of show GMs and players together what the City of Arches is like and how it works. It ties into the main elements of the rest of the city, like the archways, people forgetting their memories as they come through, the archkeepers, the weird cults that are trying to, do evil deeds inside the city. All of it kind of culminates in this one fun 1 hour scenario. It's a perfect scenario to run as part of your session 0. So if you're doing a session 0 for your campaign and you're building characters together and you're coming up with all of the different background connections and stuff like that, and you're explaining to them the city, then at the end of the City of Art, in the end of your session 0, you can then drop this scenario in place and run it. Everybody gets a fun time fighting some Sturges. Sturges are pretty dangerous at first level too, but they only have like 1 hit point, so you just hit them once. And remember, all the Sturges aren't attacking characters. They're attacking all kinds of people. But it gives you a nice combat, gives you this chance for some fun role-playing, both with Garland Willowmane and with Golgoron, shows you the city, and you're off to the races. So if you want to try it out, you can try it out right now. If you want to try it out, you can try it out right now. Please sign up for the Kickstarter below. I hope you'll check out the City of Arches sourcebook. Super proud of this book. Available on Kickstarter now. You can download the 42-page sample right away, and you can back the project and get the full PDF and full hardcover version of the book, along with some fantastic deals on the other Sly Flourish books that are available in the Kickstarter. Please check out the show notes below. Please share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. Share it on your favorite social media feeds. Tell everybody about it. I'm really excited, and I want to get this out to as many people as I can so that we can all enjoy it together.